disrupted. System reactivated. Rogue hive detected. System malfunctioning. Agent down. Rogue artillery turret detected.
A specialization supply drop has been arranged for you. There are no more rogue reinforcements. Eliminate whoever's left. Supply drop being claimed by friendly. The specialization supply drop has been claimed by an ally.
Boost about to come online. Rogue seeker mine detected. Agent down. System malfunctioning. System restored.
What's going on YouTube? Kamikazevondoom here with another Division 2 build video. Now shout out to the DoD, Disciples of Doom. Now in this video I'm going to show you guys my hardest hitting mortar build for PvP. And actually it's kind of like an explosive build. I'm using the mortar turret and I'm using the sticky bomb. Both of which can one-hit people, and I'm sure you saw that in the gameplay. Now shout out to Rogue Gaming UK. About a month or two ago, I was running the Hive, Stinger Hive, and the Sticky Bomb, and it was a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. But Rogue Gaming UK asked me to try to run the Sticky Bomb and the explosive, the artillery turret, the mortar turret. And at first I was like, man, running both of those, that could be risky. But like you saw in the gameplay, it's actually a lot of fun to use. You're one-hitting people with both of your skills, and they're very fast. Not only that, but if you get disoriented, it goes away pretty quick, and then you can still one-hit them again. This build's a lot of fun to use. I run it mainly just for, you know, shiz and giggles, but I don't know. I think you guys would like it quite a bit. Now, just a disclaimer. If you use this build, the number one way to counter this build is to use my anti-mortar build that I released last week. Was it last week or a week or 2 weeks? Anyways, I released a anti-mortar build, and it actually showed that you can take damage from mortars and sticky bombs and still be able to live no problem. So there is a way to counter this build. You don't have to get all mad and write mean comments. There is a counter, you just have to put it together. But for all of those that are lazy and don't want to put that build together, you're gonna die from this build, pretty much guaranteed. But enough about that, let's look at the build. So here is my hardest hitting mortar build for PvP, and pretty much, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So starting off with the specialization, it is crucial that you use the demolitionist specialization. Reason being is it gives you access to the artillery turret. This is the mortar turret. It shoots out mortars and it's a lot of fun to use. But the only way to unlock that turret is to have the demolitionist specialization unlocked and opened. Now, another thing that's really cool about the demolitionist specialization is it gives you explosive damage. So if I go over to my stats, and at the bottom of your offensive tab, you can see explosive damage. I am currently at 40%. I'm pretty sure that's the max, but we'll just stick with 40%. So those are the two reasons why you need to use the demolitionist. For one, it's the only way to get the mortars. So if you want a mortar build, you better have demolitionists. And for two, you get explosive damage that also helps out your mortar turret. Another thing that's cool is if you actually look at the mods that come with the demolitionist specialization, they're pretty cool. So this one right here is a 10% damage mod. You can see that that's over double the damage of my next best mod. And then also you get 1 extra mortar ammo, which is pretty nice. And then finally you get skill haste. Not too shabby at all. Now my secondary skill, like I was telling you guys, the explosive sticky bomb. This sticky bomb will one hit pretty much everyone in PvP. You can see that just the base damage alone for PvP is 1.3 million, and that alone would kill over half of the PvP agents. And then for the other half that are running, you know, those crazy tank builds, that's why I'm running the explosive damage, the glass cannon, the perfect shock and awe, and I'm also running perfectly in sync. That way I can make this 1.3 million go way up there in numbers. Now, just at the firing range alone, I'm hitting some pretty crazy numbers here. So for the sticky bomb, at the firing range, I'm hitting for about 11.7 million. It's between 11.7 and 12 million. And then for the sticky bomb, I'm hitting between 7.5 and 8 million at the targeting range. Now, obviously, if you look at this build, you could run combined arms and kinetic momentum, which is fine and all for the firing range. Yeah, it looks cool on paper, but when it comes to actual PvP, you will not be using those, especially for a mortar build or a mortar sticky bomb build, because what you want is you want that perfect shock and awe, and you want the glass cannon. That way you hit harder, you proc the shock and awe, and then you hit even harder. Because remember, the shock and awe, once you apply a status effect, you get 20% skill damage for 27 seconds. So after the initial boom, you are good to go. Not only that, but I'm using the waveform holster, which fluctuates 30% skill damage from my sticky to my mortar back to my sticky. Think of it as an hourglass. One end is my sticky bomb and the other end is my mortar turret. So it just depends on where the waveform is, and I'll have either a one-hit sticky or a one-hit mortar. Either way, it's perfect. I love the waveform because no matter what, one of my skills is an automatic one-hit kill. Now, I do understand that the waveform isn't everyone's cup of tea. But you have to remember that the 30% damage you get from that is pretty vital, especially when you're running glass cannon, and the glass cannon amplifies that damage. Now, going to the weapons, I am running the test subject. I know a lot of people would prefer the capacitor for the damage and the stacks. However, it only takes one bullet from this weapon to proc the 40% skill damage and weapon damage. It would take 40 bullets hit on target consistently to keep the capacitor up. And in PvP, the capacitor is nice to shoot every once in a while, but to actually get the full proc from the capacitor in PvP, that is probably slim to none. I don't think there's anybody that has consistent PvP gameplay where their capacitor is maxed out. It's just not going to happen. So like I'm saying here, using the test subject with glass cannon and perfect shock and awe with the waveform is the way to go for PvP. That way you don't have to keep shooting them for the perfect in sync. All you have to do is shoot them once. So what if I shoot them once, hit them with a mortar? There you go. You have your 40% right then and there. But if you're using the capacitor, you have to sit there and keep shooting, just to try to keep your stacks up. So I would love to see somebody try to match this damage in PvP with a kinetic momentum and capacitor. I just don't think it could be done at all. This is the way to go, in my opinion. I'm hitting some stupid numbers in PvP, and they are very consistent. Now, as far as the capacitor, you could get up to like maybe 20 stacks, something like that, but you're not going to have the full 40 stacks the whole time you're playing, so it's just not going to hit as hard. But yeah, enough about that. Let's look at the weapons. So my primary is the test subject. This is the named PDR assault rifle with perfectly in sync. So every time I shoot my weapon, I get skill damage, and every time I shoot my skill, I get weapon damage. And if I damage the enemy with both, I get double the procs. So that's how you get the 40% skill damage or the 40% weapon damage. Now, as far as the attributes, 72.4k for the total damage. That's with 15% AR damage, 21% health damage, and 8% damage to targets out of cover. Going to my secondary, I'm running the Scorpio. Reason being is this is a lot of fun to use close in quarters. So say there's a lot of people that are rushing you, and you either have your skills on cooldown, or they're rushing you to a point where you can't use your mortar turret. You can always whip out the Scorpio, shoot them a few times, get them under that status, and then whip out your sticky bomb or your mortar and go to work. Scorpio is a great weapon to use. I have a lot of fun using it. Now, as far as the sidearm TDI custom, no real reason except for it does have in sync on there, so that's cool. But I'm not really using this weapon because this is a skill build, and I'm sticking with my primary weapon until, you know, things get hairy. And if things get hairy, I'll whip out the Scorpio and then go right back to the test subject, because that perfectly in sync, it really does help. Now, looking at the build itself, this is a 2 Grupo Sombra, 2 Hana U Corporation, and 1 China Light Industries. Match that up with the exotic waveform holster, and there you go. Now, the trick is you have to find these Grupo Sombra pieces with decent attributes. That way you can roll the skill tier on there. I cannot use the sacrifice chest piece with perfect glass cannon on this build without lowering the skill tier to skill tier 5. Maybe one day I could find one that has really high skill damage and I could roll a skill tier on there, and then I'd be good to go. But until then, this is the best way to put it together. So let's do a little deep dive. Starting off with the mask. So Grupo Sombra. What I get out of these brand set bonuses, 15% crit damage and 15% explosive damage. Like I said, you want to have skill damage on the attribute already. That way you can roll the skill tier. So this one, I have skill tier with max weapon handling and max skill damage. I threw on there a skill haste mod of 11.5%. Now, just to let you guys know, the skill haste on this build is at 90.5%. So I have over 90% skill haste. It's a lot of fun to use. Now going to the backpack, this is the strategic alignment. It's the named China Light Industries backpack with perfect shock and awe. Now the brand set bonus I get from the China Light is 15% explosive damage. Now this one for the attributes, skill tier, skill damage, and skill haste. And then for the mod, I threw more skill haste on there. Now perfect shock and awe. I tried to cover this a little bit earlier, but I'll go ahead and explain it right here. So perfect shock and awe, when you apply a status effect to an enemy, it will increase your skill damage and repair by 20% for 27 seconds. Now, a lot of you might say, well, Kami, perfect tech support gives you more damage and it lasts for the same amount of time, I believe. Well, the problem with that is tech support, that only activates after a kill, whereas perfect shock and awe activates whenever you just get an enemy on a status effect. So using either one of my skills automatically puts them on a status effect and automatically procs this for 27 seconds. I don't have to kill anybody or anything like that. All I have to do is hit an enemy, just one, and I'll have this procced for the next 27 seconds, which, if you guys look at my skill haste, I could shoot a sticky, proc my perfect shock and awe, and I can still shoot another sticky with this proc before it goes away. So it's a really good backpack to use. Now going to the chest piece. This is my Hana-U Corporation chest piece. I could have used a few different ones here, but let me explain why I did this. So I could have used say a wyvern wear, right? And that would have gave me skill damage. That way I have one Hana-U for skill haste, and then I could have like a wyvern wear for skill damage. I could even run 2 China Light Industries in a wyvern for the skill haste, but they're all the exact same thing. So when you ask, why not a wyvern? It's because I would get the exact same thing out of it. When I'm running 2 Hana-U, I get skill haste and skill damage. So it doesn't really matter what combination you use with the China Light, the Hana-U, or using wyvern wear. As long as you get the skill haste and the skill damage from the brand set bonuses, it truly does not matter. So in this case, I'm using 2 Hana-U Corporation. So I get the 10% skill haste and I get the 10% skill damage. Now for this chest piece, I am running glass cannon. So all the damage I deal is amplified by 25%. So that's why even me sneezing on another agent down the hallway with my sticky bomb usually kills them 9 times out of 10. Now as far as these attributes, it comes with a skill tier. It also came with crit chance, which is okay, but then I rolled on there the skill damage at 10%. I also added more skill haste for the mod. Now the second piece of Hana-U Corporation are the gloves. These ones are god rolled, max skill haste and skill damage. Going to the knee pads. These are the Grupo Sombra knee pads. And finally, I was able to optimize the skill damage. So it does have 10% skill damage and that skill tier. It also has headshot damage, which it is what it is. And then finally, the waveform. I tried to explain this a little bit before, but let's do a little deep dive now. So this one comes with a skill tier, max skill damage, and max skill haste. Now the talent is called alternating current. Again, think about it like a hourglass. So you flip the hourglass, it fills up, you flip it back over, it fills up again. So here we go. It generates a stack of 3% skill damage on one skill every second. It caps out at 10, which is 30% skill damage, and it'll stay there for 10 seconds. After the 10 seconds, it'll start to decrease as it is increasing the skill damage on your other skill. So it'll creep down while your other skill is creeping up. Once that skill maxes out, it'll sit there for 10 seconds, and then it'll start to slowly fill up your other skill, and then it'll max out there for 10 seconds as well. It just keeps going back and forth, back and forth. It's really cool because at any given moment, one of your one-hit skills is going to have 30% extra damage, which is a lot of fun. Now, looking at the skills. Artillery turret is the primary. This one is, there we go, tier 6 with a PvP damage of 1,034,000 and a PvP bleed damage of 16k. Now, I already showed you the mods. I am using the 10% damage for the SHD CPU V2, the extra mortar ammo for the Cyclone Mag, and then for the carbon fiber barrel, I'm using skill haste. And then for the secondary skill, I am using the explosive sticky bomb. Now this one has a PvP damage of 1.2 million, and these numbers are without the waveform fully procced. So you have to add the 30% damage on top of that, and then add the amplified. It's pretty tricky, but if you do enjoy math, this is a lot of fun. Now, as far as my sticky bomb mods, I chose a blast radius mod and a damage mod. And let's go to the stats. So this is for the test subject. So we're doing PvP, so here we go. Just under 29k base damage in PvP, 13 crit chance, 60 crit damage, 84.7 headshot damage. Go to the offensive tab. This is a all skill build. So I only have 10% all weapon damage bonus and 30% assault rifle damage bonus. So every time I use my test subject, I get 40% AR damage bonus, period. Now looking at the gear talents. Perfect shock and awe. Remember, all you have to do is get them on a status effect and it procs this for 27 seconds. And then of course glass cannon, amplifying all damage with the waveforms alternating current talent that gives me that extra 30% skill damage on top. Now going to the defensive tab, 726k armor, 331k health with some explosive resistance and hazard. But let's go down to the skills. I do have 90.5 skill haste, and that is for both of my skills. So 90.5 skill haste, a whole bunch of skill damage, and 40% explosive damage. I love this build and I hope you guys enjoy it. Shout out again to DoD, Disciples of Doom, and Rogue Gaming UK. I am Kamikazevondoom. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about this build. Also, let me know how you run a mortar turret build, or if you prefer not to ever run a mortar turret build. Let me know. And with all that said and done, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.